as far as with men, with protection goes a lot longer way. I was at work. This lady was flirting with me all the time, and I wanted to grab a receipt from her, and she gently caressed my hand and was looking me all in my eyes. And my wife walked up, and it was a whole thing. I'm like, yo, I wasn't even trying, but it was like, no, you gotta protect. I don't know. You're not expecting stuff like that. That was such an awkward moment. Yeah. But it's like I needed to be more prepared to be like, hey man, chill out, what you doing? Yeah. And that's the type. But my reaction wasn't that. Yeah. And I'm still young husband, still kind of liked it probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you doing?
Yeah, I mean, because it was okay before.
Right, but now my wife walks up, and now as far as emotionally, she feels stupid, like all these women are behind her back laughing at her. And that's the stuff that we don't see as men a lot of times with certain things. Stage gonna play the stage, right? And we'll feel bombarded or whatever. But right. it's a legitimate question. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With people, it's like, no, I just want to make sure our views and we're on the same track and everything is aligning. So yeah, that's my thought on it.
I think I don't usually have a problem with the guys that I date, mostly because I think it's because I be weeding people out. If you answer wrong in the first place, I'm not even going to. So I usually just ask, what are you looking for? Which is always crazy on a dating app because you think that it's clear. Yeah, right. But anyways, I'm not looking for anybody to say they're getting married or whatever the case may be. I just want to know where you're at. Right. It can be casual or whatever. I just want to know where to start my intentions at, and then I'm just going to give you the energy that you've given me back. If it seems casual in nature, don't expect nothing of me. Right. Period, point blank. And in the event that I am done with being casual, I'll just, peace out and call it a day. The thing that bothers me is when guys are like offended or bothered. I'm saying that this is my timeline, or I'm saying that these are the things that are motivating me to want to know the answers to these questions. Not saying that you have to answer them right, but your answer is going to dictate my response. Right. So, but yeah, I'm glad that I, things like kids, I'm glad that I have a daughter already, so I'm not as pressed. But there are a lot of women my age that are like, unfortunately, that timeline really does matter. Right. And I know guys don't like to hear that you feel like you're wasting time with them, but there's an actual biology behind it, and you could be wasting time if you are not interested in being with this woman. Not to say that y'all are gonna work out, but if you have no intent in the first place, she wasting her eggs life on your ass. Right, yeah. Like there's an expiration date, sir. Yeah. So I want to see, especially now that you are in a relationship, how did your expectations shift once you became committed?
Once I became committed, I think for me personally, I don't know what everybody else, my expectations are, I feel I should be able to have access to you more often. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Whether it's text, time spent, whatever the case may be. I think, when we're just dating, I probably won't bother you. I don't know what you're doing. I'm not, like you said, who am I to put this on you? Right. But now that we're in a committed relationship, if I'm having a rough day at work, this and that, whatever, that's the first thing that for me, I think change. Like, hey, I want to, I want to come over or whatever, this and that. Those are my expectations out the gate. And I really thought about this one. So I had to kind of put a note in this one because that was a good one. And protecting each other. You know what I'm saying? If we're out and, for me personally, I have expectations for myself in a relationship when things change. Like I'm now definitely more protective of you. I'm already naturally a protective person. Right. But I'm more protective of you and I expect the same from you, and it typically is like verbally people trying, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So, and I think a lot of times people don't know how to protect one another. And us as men, sometimes we don't pay attention. I'm guilty of this multiple times, of things that we don't see that we're allowing someone to be, attack our person, to our partner. Yeah. So, time, protection, and more open vulnerability on both sides. Like,
Okay.
we're in a
I got the
relationship
keys now.
Yeah.
Open that bitch up.
Oh, come,
Listen.
That's all this closed off stuff. All the, what's up? We're heading in this way. I need to know more. I'm gonna give, and I should feel comfortable to be vulnerable with you, because that's a problem for a lot of men, is we don't have a lot of safe havens, a lot of places to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I can't be vulnerable with you if I don't feel like you're being vulnerable with me.
Yeah.
So those would be like my 3 that I feel changed. It was something
that you said that it definitely rings really true it was like the beginning of my marriage, that feeling of not knowing how to protect your partner.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a weird thing. I guess it's almost like becoming a parent, but without the instinctual like connection that you have to your child. It's like, all of a sudden I'm responsible for this, and I've not been taught how to do it.
Oh.
It's literally only, some people might have it because they saw their parents in that light. But I remember my ex and I on our honeymoon, like it was something that it was another couple that was up there, and they had asked us something like, oh, are you guys going to do this or that? And I think we had different answers or something. Mm-hmm. And they got on us. They're like, y'all need to check with each other first. Mm-hmm. Y'all are one now. Mm-hmm. Like, and we're just like, we just became one yesterday. My nigga, like, I didn't know that I was responsible for being a whole nother person.
Right.
So it was so off-putting, because it made us feel like failures on day 2 of marriage. But it was like, I was supposed to feel it. I was supposed to check in with him. Or even things like, my mom wasn't the type of mother that ran and fixed the plate for my dad. Mm-hmm. So not knowing that, I'm like, that's me.
Expectations
I'm up. And it was just like, without having that modeled for you, like it is just, you just stumbling through shit until you figure out what your partner asked for, needs, and didn't communicate. You're like, that made you feel a certain type of way? So that, no good? All right, got it. It's just... That's
a whole nother thing too, yeah. But it's like, when you get your driver's license, how many times do you hit the curb after you got them? You know what I'm saying? You
Today.
Right. So it's like you're going to mess up. So you said that day 2? Yeah, day 2 we're messing up. And it's funny that you say that. I remember the first time, when I first realized that it was certain things I needed to do. So my ex-wife and my aunt got into an argument in my grandmother's house. And this was a crazy predicament for me, but I just could revert it to what I know. And I'm mind my business, right? She grown. Y'all figure it out. And so after the argument, she was mad at me and all of this, and I'm like, what? But it was one of those things, because I'm growing up in the family. Somebody's arguing. Yeah, as long as y'all don't hit each other, we good. But I was like, oh no, she said, I'm like, yeah, I do got to protect her even against my family. You all are the outsiders now.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? And again, young husband, I don't know that.
That's a paradigm shift.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's like family, like mind your business type. I literally.
I was on your side. I thought I was on, but now we family and all. But
so it was like that was my first time. And then as far as with men, with protection goes a lot longer way. I got caught up in a situation. I think I was at work. This lady was flirting with me all the time, and I wanted to grab a receipt from her, and she gently caressed my hand and was looking me all in my eyes. And my wife walked up, and it was a whole thing. I'm like, yo, I wasn't even trying, but it was like, no, you got to. I don't know. You're not expecting stuff like that. That was such an awkward moment.
Yeah.
But it's like I needed to be more prepared to be like, hey man, chill out. What you doing?
Yeah.
And that's the type. But my reaction wasn't that.
Yeah.
And I'm still young husband, still kind of liked it probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you doing?
I mean, because it was okay before.
Right. But now my wife walks up, and now as far as emotionally, she feels stupid, like all these women are behind her back laughing at her. And that's the stuff that we don't see as men a lot of times with certain things.
So many undertones that, like, how in the world is someone supposed to and the hard part about it, the truth about it is, we don't be knowing how layered things are either.
Right.
The thought just popped in our head. I'm offended. Mm-hmm. I don't know where it came from whence it came, or to even communicate that your ex-wife is not going to be like, if somebody comes and you shake their hand and she does this, I'm gonna feel some type.
Right.
That's not something that is in her mind, but that reaction was immediate, and she knew that she felt it, and it was like, okay, what do we go from now?
Those are just those learning moments. But then it's like how you navigate those moments.
Yeah,
is how, you know what I'm saying?
Listen, baggage or no baggage, and hopefully, I mean, that's the thing about these long-term relationships is you're gonna be building up a whole bunch of missteps and mistakes, but you build on them. Mm-hmm. So, what are some things that you were surprised about that you had expectations of that you didn't know existed, or things that your partner surprised you with, like that's an expectation, something like the dishes or something like that.
So again, it's so funny though, because for me, and I've seen it with multiple partners, like I didn't know how important making my partner feel safe, my girlfriend feel safe was. Like, and again, I told you I'm naturally protective when to the perceived threats. I know certain things. A man slapped your girl on the big stuff, right?
Right.
But it's other things, like even, man of the household type thing. Hey, mate, did you check all the windows and the doors before we went to sleep? Like, I left the garage open one time, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of those things. Like, do you not care? And it's like, it's big. And so, that was a real big one for me, as far as the expectation on me. My expectation on others, that was a hard question for me, because I was like, what was something that surprised me for other people, and I don't know. I think it was hard for me. I couldn't answer that one for myself. So and again, I think that's the problem. I think a lot of times we feel like a lot of expectations are normal or something like that.
Yeah.
But I guess it just depends on who you with. Like I expect to be able to have somewhat calm conversations, even if it's a frustrating situation. I don't like yelling. So I think that could be expectation, because even though I'm a hyper person, I yell all the time about regular stuff. I'm happy. I might be telling you about work, but when it comes to like we're in a room together and we mad about something, I typically drop my tone. I'm trying to, because I don't want to get out of control. Because when you're yelling and you're emotional, so those are expectations. I know that was something that I had to have a conversation about. But like, yo, that's not the way you're gonna get through.
Yeah, that's a big one. So it's kind of crazy. As much as you say men don't think about their expectations, it's not that I didn't think about my expectations. I didn't really have many. I was just like, love God, love me, we'll be fine. Like I was completely delusional. But I think in my marriage, a lot of times I still didn't really put all those expectations on him. It was more like, well, all right, that's not something that he does, and I mean, I had things that I would still, ask for and require, but at the end of the day, for whatever reason, I didn't feel like I could fully put the weight of my expectations on somebody else. And so I think I was honestly surprised when expectations were put on me. I was like, I'm gonna do me, you're gonna do you, and we'll be fine.
Right,
because you're not meeting my expectations, and I'll take care of it. I'll be okay. So why do you expect me to? So I was actually shocked to have to, I guess, live up to somebody's expectations. I went into marriage thinking that we're just going to figure it out. Like, not necessarily, I won't say conform or have to be the other person's end all be all, but we're gonna, like, okay, this is who you are, this is who I am, and we're gonna make that work together, kind of side by side. But I was really, I was taken aback when I had to like step up and be this other person. That's what I felt like I had to be in order to meet those expectations. And so I don't know, for me it was just, I don't know, it was just like I had to be a different person, and it was something that I never expected because I didn't expect that of somebody else. So it was, again, me putting my expectations on someone else to be the same way that I did. What?
So what I'm hearing you say is that you didn't cook and fix plates before you got married. Now,
the thing is though, like, I did more, but so I'm the type, don't ask me or require me to.
Okay, I got you.
I will do it.
Right. Loving right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just being funny, but so one of the things that you just made me think about, you're saying we have these expectations, we want to put them on people. Have you ever written down your expectations?
I have not.
Like, that's an exercise that we do with certain things. I haven't done it with this, but like as you were talking, I was like, what would happen if we wrote down our expectations? Maybe we would look at them and be like, oh, this one's a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then imagine if you're in a relationship and we both write down our expectations, and before we even, we're just observing at this point. Be like, oh, okay, just kind of, it can be a whole little game.
Yeah.
And then go from there. But because I think so many expectations are just built in.
Yeah.
And you're not going to know all your expectations.
Right.
As you think about them, put them in a notepad and then be like, hey, let's take a look at this.
I wonder how honest we'd be.
I know. I don't know.
So this is the thing. The thought will be right here, right? And it'd be coming like here, and I'm like, nah, girl, put that back. That don't make no sense. You can't say that. You can't say that.
But I mean,
I still feel it.
Right. But that's the point of it. Because I think sometimes certain things, when you don't see it, because it's a feeling.
Yeah.
When you look at something, because I'll feel a certain way and I'll be complaining to somebody about something or talking about it. And then I'll say it. And I was like, yeah, that's real stupid.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, maybe putting it on paper help you eliminate some of your own expectations that might have been expectations that were unnecessary.
Yeah.
And, you know, we can just pull them away. And it could be a game. I don't know.
That actually does sound like a good exercise. It's one of those hard things to do, but necessary. All right. To me, this is a hard question. Mm-hmm. So how do you deal with unmet expectations?
So I think there's only one way to deal with them. Like you have to, and let me ask.
This is loaded.
I'm not saying that I do it.
Okay.
But I think you have to meet it head on.
By how?
Conversation, those uncomfortable conversations, you know, and that's how we have it though. Oh. Like what? Just use the toilet seat. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Your expectation is that I put the toilet seat down when I'm done, right? You know, it's only going to take one time for you to go in that bathroom and be like, hey, why you didn't, do this? But it's like, what is the problem and how is the person, we know each other. Yeah. How do you think I'm going to respond to it? So we have to kind of see. Mm-hmm. So, but it's like, if it's not met head on, it's not going to stop. Whatever behavior that I'm not meeting the expectation isn't going to change. Yeah. And maybe I don't understand my behavior is doing X, Y. So because typically I don't think anybody's out here just not doing something that's going to frustrate our partner. Right. So either we don't know or we don't care. So you have to take one thing off the table. Like, did you such and such? Yeah. So you have to take one thing. Okay, he didn't know, but now you know. Yeah. Oh, you didn't know. I mean, you did know, but you didn't care. Mm-hmm. Or you did know, but you didn't know how important it was. Because we all have expectations. Oh, she liked me to do this, but it ain't that big. She ain't never said nothing about it. Yeah. So
listen, when I tell you, I'm going to take it one step further, because there's you didn't know, you didn't care, you didn't know how important it was, you're not able. That's what I mean when you talk about unmet. Not unmet because they don't know about it. What happens? Because to me, this is real relationship.
Right, okay.
Because, and I won't say that it happens in every relationship, but I would just caution people to think that it shouldn't happen. Mm-hmm. What do you do when your partner can't meet your expectation, or you can't meet your partner's expectation? Something like, there's a couple that I follow, and the husband is super neat, tidy, clean, and the wife is just not. It's not that she can't clean up. She gets super overwhelmed, super anxious with things. So she can clean in small batches, but she's just generally a messier person. Not dirty, filthy, bacteria kind of thing, but just untidy kind of thing. So there's ways that she does try to, clean up after herself, but it will never get to the level that he is looking for or feels like, because he equally desires tidiness. Right. And so a lot of times you can see that every time they bring something up, you can see it's tense.
Right.
But it's just like, this is who I am. And that, and everything else about their relationship just seems to gel very nicely. But that is an issue that is just going to keep coming back around and around and around and around.
Okay, so I like that. So I think it comes down to a couple of things. Number one, is it one of those non-negotiables first and foremost? Yeah. So if it's not one of the non-negotiables, is it something we can fix? Is it something we can work on? Is it something I can alter how much it bothers me, and can I come down some, you come up some? Yeah. Is it possible? If it's one of those things where they can't meet me on this, that's why it's like, is it a non-negotiable first? Yeah. Because if you just saying you can't do it, that essentially, I don't know if it might take 25 years, 30 years, that's going to be the breaking point. Yeah. For some reason. It's never goes away. Like you said, that will never. So it's like, that's the question first. I'm glad you brought that piece up, because that is a thing, you know? So is it non-negotiable? Can it be fixed? Can we work on it? What are the other things that we can do? Yeah. So I think that, but that's a good one.
Yeah. So I think that all those things are absolutely what you do. I do think that it's usually how can we somehow, we're not going to meet in the middle, but how can it just not frustrate me as much? Mm-hmm. How can it not hurt you as much? How close can we get? I think It was so many different things. But I know like my ex, he had a different way of cleaning. Like it was like organized chaos kind of thing. Like
Okay, yeah.
all the papers on the desk, don't touch them.
Right.
Like
I know
it looks
that,
messy.
right?
Please don't touch them. Me, I'm going ape shit inside. Like this needs, throw it in the trash. So it's more like that was definitely my motivation to give him a man cave.
Right. I was gonna say
Put
that's
all
the
your
fix.
shit up in there.
That's your area. I won't come across the threshold.
I don't want to know what happens in there. It could be an entire family behind that door. I'm okay with it. As long as they not messing up my couch. That's fine. So that's one part. But I think there's another part that is a whole lot less sexy. And that is learning to deal. Not getting over it, but learning not to let it take up so much real estate in your mind and in your heart. And I think it's a great skill set, and I never know how far you should go because you don't want to get to the point where you're just being walked all over and you're a shell of yourself. But learning how to just be okay. And I feel like it's something that happens in marriage, but it's easier to recognize with children. There's so many things that we want to require of our children, and they don't give a fuck
At all. Not 2, 3, none.
I want to be a parent whose child does not throw tantrums in the middle of the grocery store. I want to be that person. I want to be her. My daughter does not care. She does not care.
She's like, no.
You are not going to be that person. This is who we are, okay? But it's that same muscle that I'm training or exercising of this is just what it's going to be. And guess what? The world's still going to turn. So go ahead and like let that shit go and get used to it. But then I just never know how far, because especially like in Christianity and like the church, and it's like you just stay because you have to.
Right,
so I never know like, okay, but at what point does it warrant finding happiness or finding something better or not having to like have your blood boiling just to exist in this relationship? At what point are you going too far in order to just like deal with this real truth? So
yeah, if your blood's boiling, you probably want to let them go because that's high blood pressure. Like, they're gonna kill you. You're gonna die before them. But that's a good point. And I think one thing, this platonic relationship, I have a friend, and like what I've learned is you have to accept certain things about people. It's like, how important is this friendship to me that this friend does this? So and my friend, he used to, it was like in high school and stuff. He would just, I would joke about it. I'm like, bro, you PMS, bro, whatever. He would just get moody. And we were like, all right, man. But the friendship was so important to me that we had so much fun any other time. I didn't bother it. It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
I started being like, this is who he is.
Yeah.
So we have to, there's certain things that we're going to have to, for us, it's homework for us and homework for them.
Yeah.
We can, you can try to fix it. But if they don't alter or change, if it seems like it's something that they really can, it's like, now you have to weigh it out.
Yeah.
How important is everything else compared to this thing? How, the bad part about where we are in society now, it's so easy to date and meet new people that we're quick to roll the dice again. We're like, man, I don't need this. I can go find another one. Back when I met him at the grocery store, met him at the church, car wash, something like that. You're like, I might not run into another one.
New one.
Right. So, but it's like how well is everything else going, and then the win. Yeah. I've been in a relationship where it bothered her that if I, just dig in the butter, like you had to scrape the top layer. It had to always be smooth. I was like, yo, you OCD as hell. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay,
girl, you can't live like
right.
that.
I'm like, yo,
I'm here to set you free.
So, but it was like, okay, how bad? So 2 things. Number 1, I either didn't use the butter or I bought my own butter. Yeah, I'm like, this is my butter. I won't mess with you. But it's like, so can I conform? And because it's like, at the end of the day, you're not going to find nobody that hits everything.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was like, what do you do when, like, going again from a committed relationship to marriage? How much more are you willing to deal with? Does it change because you were married? Does it not? Like,
so my sister always says, go in with both eyes open, and after you're married, you have one eye closed. Like you kind of, you know what I'm saying?
That.
So you're looking for everything that you can find. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I don't need to open my eyes because it's all
right. You keeping one foot on the ground, both eyes open. And I'm not finna let you sweep me up and flee all the way.
Yeah.
Because if you've done that, hopefully by the time you get to the marriage point, the smaller things you can afford to overlook. They're not that important. But again, it's still like one of those things where it's like, you know, like you said, some things need to be addressed before marriage, and then we just need, after the rain come on and papers are signed, we need to do a relaunch. Let's do this again.
Yeah.
Report card, expectations, what are, you know, and these are conversations that don't happen.
Yeah.
So that's why it's kind of like, what do you turn the blind eye to? Well, if you have this conversation again, you might be able to find out some stuff. Maybe right before you get married. Like, what are we going to expect of each other?
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I didn't know about this one. So that's my thought on it. But yeah, you got to, my sister always says, you go in dating, both eyes open. When you're married, one eye closed.
Yeah. The podcast I was just watching was talking about how easy it is to, you know, get married, and how hard it is to get divorced. And it should be the other way around. Like, you need to go through an intense ropes course or whatever the case may be. You should have to pay a whole lot of money, all this other stuff before you're able to get into a relationship. And, you know, getting out. If you do all that and you get married, then if you want to leave, just sign on the dotted line, and that's it.
Right. Honestly, I'm like, I don't think nobody should be married before the age of 30. You don't know what you want when you're in your 20s. I don't know what I want. We think we know what we want.
Yeah.
Things change. That you may not be settled in your career, and so it's like, it's too many moving parts prior to 30.
Yeah.
By 30, you know, stuff is typically starting to come together and everything like that.
You're starting to become your true individual self.
Right.
And you are aware of the things that actually matter to you a little bit.
Right.
Sure. Yeah, I'm definitely on that train too. So how much of a role does like the outside world play in your own expectations?
So I think it depends on where you put the value.
Yeah.
You know, if, you know, of course our families shape our expectations, right? If I really value my mother's opinion, she plays a big role. But so I think it shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I think once you know, I think maybe their opinion matters more so when you're dating. But I feel like when you get married, you all are creating a sanctuary, and you're creating your own house. It doesn't have to conform to nobody else's but ours.
Yeah.
You know, so if we're firing off and having these conversations, I don't care, you know, if it doesn't align with nobody else's. So so-and-so might not like this, and you have to be prepared and strong enough to say, hey, this is what we do in my family.
Yeah.
But it's easier said than done.
For sure.
Because, you know, imagine a pastor being married to a woman who liked to wear short skirts or something like that, and everybody's like, you know, your wife is that, but he likes her being free, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a constant struggle to manage that, because everybody got something to say about your relationship.
Yeah.
But again, it depends on where you place the value. Everybody can talk trash about it, but there's only a few people around me personally that I place value on.
Yeah.
And I say that to even say, like, if I'm going through something in my relationship, I might not let this person know until we filter some of this stuff out. I try to hold it in, because their opinion has so much weight with me that if they be like, oh, you just need to leave it alone, it's gonna mess me up. I'm not saying I'm gonna break up with her right then, but it's gonna put that thought in my head.
Yeah.
So
I get it.
So it just depends. It shouldn't, but I know it does.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that's about training yourself as well, of, you know, knowing who's in your toolbox of good people to listen to.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to listen to everybody's input on your expectations. Like, oh, she don't cook for you, this and that. He don't do. I mean, I keep using these old things that we all, you know, but it's just like, it's like, no, something may not be a problem until somebody else make it a problem for you. So you're like, yeah, she don't cook it. Meanwhile, she worked 12-hour shifts and this and that, and you get home for her. You know, they're not even there for the day-to-day. They're judging from what they see and what they want to work in their household. And half of the time, what they judging, they don't even do in theirs.
That part. Or they got other shit that's going on that you're not privy to.
It shouldn't. I know it does, but I feel like you have to have a core group around you that you respect enough that if they were to say something, and then you have to be strong enough with each other to fight off. Some people be like, no, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Well, this is our agreement.
Yeah.
This is, don't come over here with that.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is one of the things that it really truly passionate about, is being honest about what happens in the confine, as honest as you're willing to be about the confines of your relationship, because that exact thing where people are telling you things, but there's so much shit that's going on in their household that they're not letting you know about, and it's making you think that your partner is not doing what they're supposed to do. And so I am very much the same type where I need to resolve things for myself before I open the door for outside opinion. It happens in school and work, in personal life. Like I can't hear any of this because it just confuses me more. Like I need to see, where do I stand on it without anybody telling me anything, and then I'll go ahead and I'll listen to opinions to see how I go. But at least I know before I had any opinion, this is what I felt, and I was okay with that thought. When my ex and I first got together, we lived in Kentucky away from all of our family, and to me that was like the best way to kind of start a foundation.
Yeah.
As soon as we came back, it's aunties, it's uncles, it's moms, it's dad, it's everybody that has their opinion on everything. And it's crazy how quickly they be up in your head. Yeah. Like just little things like, this hasn't bothered me for the last 3 years, but all of a sudden, you're right.
Right, yeah.
You're right.
It's so, exactly.
Shit, right? You're right. She need to do this, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, no, but actually we were doing just fine.
Right.
We didn't need all those things. So yeah, just trying to shut out all the voices is a truly hard thing to do. And even though I know that, they still be getting
Yeah, it's hard, we humans, and it's there, and it's like, but that's a perfect example of like, it's like, we're in our world, we're in our bubble. It works for us.
Yeah.
But and again though, it's tough because it's like sometimes people get trapped in relationships where it's stuff that you're like, no, that's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm like, it's important to have key people that you value their opinion. Like these other ones, I know you don't think logically and all of this. I don't necessarily, So because it still is important because I didn't know I was in an unhealthy relationship until I got out of it and got into a healthy one. I was like, oh, that wasn't normal.
That's crazy. I was like, whoa. Wait, is this that? That's how it's supposed to go. Yeah. So yes, along the same lines, like being in a relationship with people that are, like you said, coming from a good place, but also are doing the same things, going through that, like not just having, I just don't like the people that are sitting on a perch telling you how you should live your life. I want the people that are in the trenches with me. I remember like in the early stages of the divorce, talking with one of my very close friends and her just being like, because I felt so done with all the things that I was doing. I felt like I was just doing too much. Right. And she just coming alongside me and being like, no, girl, like you are fighting for this. Like, you don't feel stupid. Nothing that you're doing is outside of what you should be doing. You feel right in your spirit and in your soul. Like you are doing just what you need to be doing. You're right where you need to be. It's that feeling of somebody coming along and not just pointing their nose at you like, what in the world are you doing? Like kind of thing. Right. Because that's oftentimes what people do from the outside, because that would be the natural response based on society's idea. Like, no, girl, you are better than this, blah, 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 blah. But it's like, it's not that actual human experience that they're communicating. It's kind of the bird's eye view that's actually devoid of real emotion and real experience. Right. And it just is so unhelpful because it's almost like the highlight reel. It's like, it's making us try to live up to this thing that isn't truly attainable at all. Like, that's not what they're living. That's what they're preaching, but that's not what they're living. Right. And yeah, so I definitely try to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with people that are really doing life with me, not just pretending, not just talking. And if I don't feel like I'm getting an honest vibe from you, transparent vibe, I don't want no parts. Right. Yeah. Like, you can stay right on the outside with your feelings. All right. And that's fine.
Keep them right over there. I agree.
Yeah. All right. So do you have any last remarks on managing expectations in relationships?
I just think being open about them and communicating them, period, will just help so much. Yeah. I was like, I think we hold so much to ourselves, and then we just expect people to do certain things. And you just have to say this stuff. You have to be vocal. And it might seem like something that you shouldn't have to say sometimes. Yeah. But if it's not said, you can't. So you have to be vocal about those expectations.
Yeah, and that's something that I really want to do better. Like I'm vocal, and it almost seems like I'm super open because I be telling all my business. But I tell the business that I'm comfortable telling. Truly getting me to be vulnerable. That's something that I don't think I do really have. I'm trying to figure out if there's somebody that I've been that vulnerable with, and I feel like I'll be just talking to myself. That's how I'll be vulnerable with myself, and truly finding a way to get to that space of vulnerability and a lot of times it's just, you'd be like, man, I don't feel like doing this.
Right.
I don't feel like having this conversation. I don't feel like it. The thing that I am fearful of most is the dynamic shift when you divulge something either super personal about yourself,
Mm-hmm.
or you divulge something that you're not happy with in your partner, and it making things awkward. Like, and the truth of the matter is, I've been through enough situations to know that you get past it, and it's usually better because of that.
Yeah, agreed.
But it is scary to kind of go into it on the front end, and you know that it's gonna be a little bit, uneasy.
Yeah.
But
you don't know how they're gonna react. And I mean, and it's funny, but the vulnerability on both ends comes with the comfortability.
Yeah.
Someone making you comfortable enough, feeling safe enough to be vulnerable with that person, because man, we hold so much crap in as well, and it's just like, we'll act like we're vulnerable. There's doors, there's hallways. You get these three. There's another one, get smart.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, good deal. I enjoyed this conversation.
This was
man.
good.
Yeah.
And I know we got so much more to talk about. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Can't wait to have you back. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, sitting with us. As always, check me out on social media at is_Alexis, no E, no I-S. Or check me out on podcasts, wherever podcasts are found, at Let's Talk. That's LEXTLK. And I can't wait to see you guys in another episode. All right.
Bye.